Here's a number that should stop you cold. The tech industry cut nearly 80,000 jobs in the first quarter of 2026. That's not the shocking part. The shocking part? Roughly half of those cuts, 40,000 jobs, were officially attributed to AI by the companies doing the cutting. Oracle named it directly. Customer service reps, junior engineers, content moderators, data entry roles. Gone.
And the pattern is consistent across industries, not just tech. The cuts are concentrated in structured, repeatable work, exactly the jobs that AI tools can now handle faster and cheaper. The question isn't whether this is happening, it's whether you're positioned on the right side of it.
One analyst framing worth keeping. Some of this is opportunistic cost-cutting dressed up in automation language. Overhiring hangovers from 2021, investor pressure to cut costs. AI transformation sounds better than, "We hired too many people." That's fair. But here's the thing. Both can be true. And the narrative shapes policy for years. This was the largest quarterly layoff wave in recent memory, and AI is now the named reason. Let's dig into the Q1 data. The jobs being cut aren't random. They're customer service reps, junior engineers, content moderators, data entry clerks, roles where the work is structured, repeatable, and measurable. That's not a coincidence. That's a signal about what AI can already do at scale.
Oracle is naming it explicitly in regulatory filings. When a company that size puts AI automation in writing as the reason for layoffs, it changes the liability calculus for everyone else. Other companies follow. The domino effect is real.
And the pushback is fair, but incomplete. Some analysts say this is overhiring hangover from the 2021 boom. And that's true. But what's also true is that companies now have a tool that lets them not rehire those roles. That's the structural shift. Low hire, low fire is the new normal. And that's actually good news for the people who are still working. If you're not on the layoff list, you're probably irreplaceable, or at least perceived that way. The question is, how long that perception holds.
Actionable takeaway. If your work involves structured, repeatable tasks, even partially, start building the AI layer on top of it now. Make yourself the person who runs the system, not the system itself. That's what the market is starting to pay for. This is a big one. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman publicly proposed a robot tax this week, a levy on companies that replace human workers with AI, with proceeds redirected to retraining programs and social safety nets. The broader OpenAI vision paper also mentions public wealth funds and a 4-day workweek.
Let's read the subtext. When the CEO of the most powerful AI company in the world starts talking about robot taxes and 4-day workweeks, that's not altruism. That's pressure management. OpenAI knows the displacement wave is coming. This is their attempt to get ahead of the political backlash before regulators do it for them.
But there's a real policy question embedded in it. Who captures the productivity gains? If AI doubles output per worker, who gets that surplus? The company, the shareholders, or the displaced worker? That's the fight that's coming, and every white-collar professional needs to understand which side of it they're on.
For individuals, the robot tax debate is a lagging indicator. By the time it passes anywhere, the displacement will have already happened. Don't wait for policy to protect you. Position yourself as a producer of AI output, not a target of it. The people writing the AI tax rules will be the ones who used AI to draft the legislation.
Real talk. A 4-day workweek powered by AI productivity is genuinely possible, but only for people who use the 5th day to build skills that compounds. That's the wedge. Start now.
Elon Musk's xAI filed suit against Colorado this week over its new AI law, the first state law in the U.S. to explicitly target algorithmic discrimination and mandate transparency for high-risk AI systems. xAI says the regulations are too broad, too burdensome, and will stifle innovation.
This is ground zero for U.S. AI regulation. Colorado's law is a template. If it survives, you'll see it in 20 other states within 2 years. If xAI wins, it slows the momentum significantly. This is the same dynamic we saw with early data privacy laws. One state sets the precedent, everyone else watches the court.
What matters for businesses? Regardless of the legal outcome, this signals that companies using AI in hiring, lending, insurance, or any high-stakes decision-making are going to face disclosure requirements. Start documenting now. Build an AI governance layer. Not because the law requires it today, because it will. And being early means you write the playbook instead of scrambling to comply.
The irony here, xAI paused its Memphis wastewater plant project the same week it filed this suit. They're pulling back on physical infrastructure while fighting regulatory constraints. The lesson? AI companies are very good at expanding in software and very uncomfortable in the physical, regulated world. That gap is where incumbents who understand regulation have an advantage. This one flew under the radar, but it's significant. Anthropic acquired Coefficient Bio, a stealth biotech AI startup, in a $400 million stock deal. Coefficient Bio was doing computational biology, using AI to model protein interactions and drug discovery.
This is Anthropic making a $400 million bet that language model capabilities translate directly into biological research. And the bet is well placed. The same pattern recognition that makes Claude good at summarizing legal documents makes it extremely good at finding structure in genomic data.
It also signals something about the frontier. The next big AI breakthroughs aren't coming from text completion. They're coming from AI applied to drug discovery, material science, and climate modeling. We're moving from AI as a tool for knowledge workers to AI as a scientist. That's a much bigger transition.
For the Your AI Future audience, this isn't immediately actionable for most of you, but pay attention to the direction. If you work in healthcare, finance, biotech, or any data-heavy regulated industry, the playbook that Anthropic is writing will show up in your field within 3 to 5 years. Watch Coefficient Bio. They'll publish case studies. Learn the vocabulary early.
And one more note, Anthropic's run rate revenue just hit $30 billion per year, and they upped their compute deal with Google and Broadcom this week. The safety-focused lab is no longer the scrappy underdog. They're one of the most valuable private companies on Earth. Claude is winning enterprise deals because companies trust the governance story. That's a lesson in positioning.
Sierra CEO Brett Taylor, former Salesforce co-CEO, former OpenAI board chair, had a line this week that I can't stop thinking about. He said, "The era of clicking buttons is over." Sierra just launched something called Ghostwriter, an agent that builds other agents. His pitch: instead of clicking through interfaces, you describe what you need in plain language, and the AI builds and runs the workflow for you.
The technical term for this is agentic UI, but the implication is huge. Every enterprise software you use today, your CRM, your project management tool, your financial system, was built around the assumption that humans navigate menus and click buttons. If that assumption breaks, the software itself needs to be rebuilt.
This is why Salesforce is spending billions on Agentforce. Why Microsoft Copilot is showing up in every meeting. Why every SaaS company is pivoting to AI native. The clickable interface isn't going away tomorrow, but it's going away. And the professionals who can describe their workflows in language that an agent can execute are going to compress 40-hour work weeks into 20.
Practical takeaway. Start treating your current workflows as recipes. Document them. What are the steps, the decision points, the inputs, the outputs? When you can describe a workflow in plain language, you can hand it to an agent. The professionals who win are the ones who can audit their own work well enough to automate it intelligently. That's a skill. Start building it.
And one tactical note, Google dropped a developer guide this week for its agent development kit, introducing something called skills, modular knowledge sets that agents load on demand. The breakthrough. This cuts token usage by up to 90% compared to giant monolithic prompts. Cheaper, faster, more specialized agents. The infrastructure for the era after buttons is being built right now. That's the week. 80,000 Q1 job cuts with AI on the official record. Sam Altman floating robot taxes while his company scales, faster than any in history. xAI taking on Colorado in a regulatory fight that will set the template for every state. Anthropic going into biotech for $400 million. And a Sierra CEO declaring the button era over.
The pattern across all 5. The AI transition is accelerating, and the window to position ahead of it is narrowing. Not closed, but narrowing. The people who move now are the ones who will write the next chapter.
If this resonated, hit subscribe. We're in this with you every day. See you tomorrow.